Hello. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Creative Youth Studio Season 2. Yay! Woo! Thank you so much for joining this little get to know you edition of CYS, and feel free to drop any questions in the chat if you have any throughout the episode. There will be a Q&A toward the end. For those of you who don't know, CYS is a weekly workshop, a free weekly workshop where we interview both youth and adults in the theater industry. Over the next 2 months, we're so excited to explore the world of theater, and we hope that you will join us along for the journey. And with that, we will begin introductions. I will toss it to Imahni.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Imahni King. I have been doing theater since I was 8 years old and studying music since I was 11. And I am doing this because I absolutely love the Globe. Not only do I love theater, but I love the Globe. And I'm really, really, really excited to be sharing with youth and people of all ages, as Katrina said, all different kinds of knowledge from the theater world, from people that we interview. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And I'll toss it over to Jada.
Thank you, Imahni. Hi, my name is Jada Nya Jackson. I am 17. I've been doing theater since I was 7, a long time ago. I do theater because I love it. It's my passion. I'm so excited to be here working with the Globe, my favorite theater in San Diego. And I am here doing this and bringing amazing content to you guys with the CYS team. Very exciting. I'll pass it off to Emily.
Thanks, Jada. My name is Emily Talerman. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I cannot wait to be exploring theater with people of all ages through the old Globe. I've been doing theater since I was around 8, and I have loved every single person I've gotten to work with, so I can't wait to meet new people and learn from them. I'll throw it back to you, Katrina.
And hello, my name is Katrina. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I've been doing theater since I was 7 or 8 years old. And it's just such an amazing community that I grew up with. And again, I do love the Globe. I've been working with the Globe since I was 7 years old. And like all of my teammates have said, it's really, CYS is just going to be an opportunity where we explore all of the different areas of the theater industry, and I'm just really excited for what the next few months are going to hold. So with that, we can begin our questions to one another, and I will toss that to Imahni.
Hey, so everyone has a preference of some sort in terms of like art mediums. And, specifically throughout this series, we're going to be talking about theater. But I know for me, in terms of theater and just art in general, my favorite medium is probably film. What about you guys?
I have to agree with you with the film. It's so dramatic and amazing, and you can do so much with it also, but a really close second is, come on, musical theater. You get singing, dancing, you could do anything on stage, and it's so like personal, I don't know, it might be a tie.
Yeah, it's so hard to choose. My personal favorites would be both TV and theater because I feel like they're both so intimate with the audience, and the fact that you can be right there in person with the theater or, every week see a show with characters you love. I think that's such a great way to connect with people. Mm-hmm. So what kind of projects are you guys working on right now?
Well, I know currently with my theater company, Type A Theater Company, we're working on a verbatim project, just going around all around the San Diego community, virtually, of course, and asking people just to tell us their story in terms of how they rose above complications in their life and got to where they are now. And then we're going to take the information that we get and we're going to turn it into a play. And I'm really excited about that. And that's probably the biggest project aside from this, of course, that I'm working on right now. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out. Right now, my family and we are acting in the California Playwrights Project, and this is we're actually going to be talking to one of the winners of the Playwrights Project next week. But anyway, it's a project that encourages youth to write plays, and then when the winners of this contest, I guess you could call it, get their shows actually produced and acted out. And it's a really great program and it's awesome. But I will be acting in that, and I'm so grateful to be supporting youth playwrights. So I'm super excited for that. So I'm going to ask the next question. This is a little off topic from, the theater industry, but what are some random fun facts that you all have about yourself? Like, it could be anything, not just theater related.
Oh, I do speech and debate as well as a lot of volunteering with the homeless. Oh, speaking of questions, if you guys have any for us, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to answer them.
Well, let's see. As I mentioned earlier, this is related to theater, so I have to find something else. I am an avid gamer. Like 100%. I probably play video games every night. Now, this doesn't mean I'm very good, okay? But I I like to think that I am. Maybe they'll make a theater video game one day and I'll excel. But until that day comes, I'll just stick with my quick eliminations in Fortnite.
Minecraft for the win, just saying.
I know how to ride a unicycle. I like that fun fact. It's crazy.
That's cool. I've never ridden a unicycle. Is it fun?
It's fun. It takes practice, but you can do it.
I'm sorry. Like I just have to. Like, how do you learn how to do that? Like, how many times did you fall in the back of your head? You know what I mean? Like, how can you practice to learn how to ride a unicycle before it's too late? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
That's how I feel about like learning how to do backflips and stuff like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a limited amount of trying. I'm just so curious about that.
Okay, let's move on. My question for you guys is, what are your future artistic goals?
I'd have to say that like my goal is to try and like before I get to college, which is in a few years, I want to do at least one more in-person musical and play. And I would like to work more with the virtual stuff because I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of the virtual thing, but it's a medium that we never really played with before the pandemic. And I think that like if we weren't forced to do this, like we could really make something really beautiful out of it. So I would love to do that before I go to college.
Yeah, I agree that I would like to make theater, interact a bit more with the virtual side. I think it'd be interesting to have more interactive theater, some more choose your own. I don't think that's explored often enough. As for career goals, I am going to be pursuing a B.F.A in acting next fall, so I'm really excited about that. And I can't wait to make really meaningful work with new people. Speaking of making meaningful work, let's talk a little bit about the format of our show. So we're going to be having two of us hosting every week. It's going to be alternating. And then we'll be interviewing both youth and adult artists every single week on topics we find meaningful. There'll be a new topic every week, such as environmentalism, playwriting, whatever we find that we want to learn about and share it with you all. So we'll be interviewing them on that. As well as we will be highlighting a few more opportunities for the youth in San Diego.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun. I had another question that I wanted to toss to you guys. What is your favorite all-time show or musical or film or anything that you have ever I'm trying to include all of the aspects of the industry. Things that you've directed, stage managed, anything like that.
Just as an audience member, the Phantom of the Opera is like my true love fan show. I love it so much.
I think I would say Les Mis. It's just a classic, and it's super beautiful.
That is so tough. Katrina, why'd you do this? Did you include everything? Is that what you said? Just making sure I get it right. Like all mediums?
I was really trying. What else? Anything that you've designed? Anything that you have costumed?
Oh Lord!
You've written.
Oh man. Okay. Well, probably what's gonna be one of my favorites. Having seen. God, is it? Okay. No. I'll just. One of my favorite shows that I've been in was The Grinch. I think that anybody that's seen The Grinch probably has a feeling that's very fun to be in, and anyone that's been in The Grinch probably says a similar thing because it's just it's not necessarily a mile deep in terms of like psyche, you know what I mean? But it's very, very, it's just the entire experience of putting on a Christmas show is so, it's so different to me. I mean, when you think about it, like outside of its scope of like, okay, this is a tradition at the Old Globe, just thinking about putting on a show for a holiday, you know what I mean? Like, it's just very, very interesting to me. I mean, there's no, like, I have not heard of many, let's say, professional Easter shows, you know what I mean? Or any kind of, Halloween shows. Maybe there's like the Crucible, but you know what I mean? So, Emily, I have to ask you real quick. It's in the same question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Love Never Dies, the sequel to Phantom of the Opera? I hear a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
things.
I've got so many opinions. It has potential, and like one of my artistic goals, kind of like throwing it back to a previous question, is to get the libretto and just like rewrite most of the lyrics to everything. Because like the orchestration is beautiful, that doesn't need any changing, but a lot of the lyrics, like once you break it down, could be improved to be more true to the characters. So yeah, that's a brief summary of my opinions on Love Never Dies.
Real quick, back to Imahni's thing about how there are no other holiday shows. If anyone wants to like jump on that and write an Easter show or a Halloween show, we will support you.
Yeah. Maybe like explaining why there's a bunny that like gives out eggs. I don't know why that is, and I feel like that
Pop the musical, make Pop the musical. Something of the sort. I don't know. There's a lot of artistic freedom that you can take with any of those. I mean, the Christmas thing is about a giant green guy that eats little tiny people. I mean, you know what I mean? You can pretty much do anything you want,
Artistic freedom.
Yeah. What would be your guys' favorite like behind the camera or stage experience? I know we all do a lot of acting. I mean, I know, at least I'll just start us off. Sophomore year, I got to write my own scene that wondered about my parents' marriage before they got divorced. And it was super meaningful to watch it get played out by people I know. And it went really well. So it'll probably be my favorite behind the acting experience.
So you really appreciate the process of writing and even more.
Yeah. And I got to direct it too. So it was super cool to explore. And I definitely feel like it made me more empathetic to like my own family. So that was very meaningful.
Katrina, do you know for the Playwrights Project, do the youth get to direct their own plays or is it directed for them?
So they work with the directors to figure out what exactly, the writer wants in the show. They don't direct it themselves, but they've been working for the past several months to work with dramaturgs and professional authors to, really make their writing better. So, and if you guys are more interested in playwriting, I mean, you should. Well, I won't give it away until the end, but it'll be.
I have to say, Emily, to answer your question, probably one of the favorite things I do that's like off camera is I do a podcast with my brother every week, and that's just totally auditory, and sometimes people do it visually, but I kind of think that's answering the question. On it we talk about whatever, all the things that all our artistic fails and all the things that we think are artistic fails in like the movie industry, like whatever we talk about it or whatever, and that's really fun and it's interesting. It's so weird having like a radio thing where it's only your voice and you can't use your face to really convey the message. I have to stop myself from going back and listening because otherwise I'm like really really hypercritical and I have to like not, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like Zoom has limited us in a way because I mean, just like you said, like when you can't use your facial expressions, it's a lot harder to get your point across. And I think you could say that with Zoom theater too. Like when I can't do big gesture, I mean, I can, but like if I'm doing a Zoom play, it's much different in the way that I can express myself through my body than if I was doing it in person. So, I mean.
Yeah. At least for me, I typically feel really like spatially connected and aware to people. And, with Zoom, you can't like look around to see the other actors, your way you're connecting is so limited to like right there. And that's been a huge adjustment for me to not kind of be able to those little in between or like, behind the curtain while you're waiting in the wings moments with your friends. Like it doesn't exist anymore. So that's been a real adjustment.
Something about that I miss about live theater is lighting. I feel like lighting is so cool and it just makes the plays or the musicals, and especially in, I don't know if you heard of it, it's called Hamilton, but the lighting just made that play. It was amazing. And I
Oh gosh, yeah, I know. The ring lights, man, they don't do it
Yeah,
justice.
the ring lights don't.
know.
No lighting designers for ring lights, right? You know, there is something though about us being forced to do this things through Zoom and just things altogether, just things virtually. As like even with this production in itself, there's a whole lot of other technical things going on that we don't really know about, right? But you know, other people are working on it, and it's really interesting to see those things come all together. And I'm interested to see how those things will be incorporated when we go back to regular, you know what I mean, in-person things because like no one's gonna. I mean, we spent all this time, a year, you know, honing in all of these skill sets and learning all these different things, how to get intimate with a computer screen, and how can we just give that up? You know what I mean? We're just gonna okay, well it's over now. We're never gonna talk about that again. No, we're gonna apply that again. You know what I mean? So I think like wow, you know, yes, like this is definitely you know not my home. I think our home has a place for it. You know what I mean? I think eventually we'll see that.
Yeah, that is so true. That I love that statement so much. Like this is not our home, but our home has a space for it. I was thinking, like one of the ways it might change. I think it's a little too soon to tell, of course, but self tapes. I know they were kind of moving to be more virtual for auditions, and having a lot more people self taping remotely than going in. And I think that as more people are more skilled in self tapes, I think it'll only make auditions more accessible since you don't have to travel as much. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, this is officially the We Miss Live Theater Club, but we're making the best of what we have. Instead of CYS, I just want to say that.
Yeah, this is the new show. If you guys are tuning in, we're just letting you know that that's what this is now. Sorry, we're taking it over. um, I was wondering if we could open it up to a Q&A for the audience to ask us some questions. What do you guys think? I know the audience has been simmering in all that we've been talking about. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. And yeah, so, you know, if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat and we'll be answering them.
I think we got the what would you be doing if you weren't
Okay.
doing theater question. That's a really
Oh.
Yeah, at least for me, I think that's easy. I would be doing law because I'm definitely a legal enthusiast. I love seeing different laws shape things and reading the news and being like, oh, the legal technicalities. I'm definitely a legal nerd, so I would be doing law.
For me, I think I would be studying sign language because I love sign language and I love the language. So if like theater wasn't a thing, I would probably become a translator because I think those are really cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool. When I go to college in a few years, I'm planning on majoring in political science because I mean, kind of like Emily, I love watching the news and being like, oh, I want to learn more about that. Um, and also on my TV show, one of the main characters is a criminal analyst, and they basically like look at crime scenes and they analyze them. That's like the most obvious thing ever. But like that just seems like such a cool profession to me. So if I wasn't doing theater, I'd probably look at that a little bit more.
I'll make sure not to include either you or Emily when I decide to scheme my big heists sometime in the future. I'll know that you two are the wrong ones. Jada, it's you and me. We're gonna make some big bucks off of these heists. So that being said, if I weren't doing theater, I'd be a criminal. No, I'm kidding. If
You would be a terrible criminal.
I
Sorry.
probably would. I'm probably too much of a showman. I'd be like, I'd probably leave too many clues for the criminal analysts. Leave too many tokens or whatever. Take a bow after it. I don't know. It'd be a mess. It'd be terrible.
Imahni, I think you're better suited to be like an old movie mobster than like an actual.
You know what? Yeah, an old movie mobster, but like a stereotypical one. You know what I mean? Go whatever it is. Go to the bank. Here, see, give me all your shekels. I don't know. I don't know what people. It's like currency changed in the 1950s. I don't know. I think that if I weren't doing theater, I'm doing it now. But if I weren't doing theater, I'd most definitely be a full-time like software engineer. I'm actually going to college right now for computer science, and there's something to be so cool about with just this, depending on your computer, you can literally create worlds. You know what I mean? You hold all the rules, and you know what I mean. You could do whatever you like, and I think at the end of the day, in terms of making, it sounds kind of morbid, but I don't mean it in a morbid way. I mean like in terms of like making software, like video games is what I mean. I said I'm a gamer, and I want to make video games for sure.
Let's see. One of the questions that was more on the fun side was, what's our favorite foods? I don't know.
Cheesecake Factory has a mac and cheese burger, and that sounds so unhealthy, but it's literally so good. And I haven't had it in months because I haven't got a Cheesecake Factory, but I love it. So yeah.
I've been on a mission because I work kind of near where I live. So I've been on a mission to like try every local restaurant in like downtown La Jolla has been my goal. And I'm also a pretty picky eater, so that's been pretty difficult because I can only like end up ordering a few things off their menu. But I have to say, if I'm really in the mood, like Burger Lounge has really good milkshakes.
Yes, Emily, Burger Lounge is so good.
I feel so bad. I don't eat meat now. I'm sure Burger Lounge has like vegetarian options, but I had gone to Burger Lounge. I'm totally like, anyway. I went to Burger Lounge like 5 years ago. I'm going off on a tangent here, is what I mean. I went to Burger Lounge like 5 years ago, and the line was so long. And it wasn't 5 years ago. It was a lot longer than that. I was like 8. And 8-year-olds are like so squirmish. So all I can remember about going to Burger Lounge was waiting in line. But now that I'm older, I hear so many people talk so highly about it. I wish I had gone on a different age. I don't know. My favorite food is sushi. If that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you should go. I don't eat meat either, and like you don't even need to. The milkshake is where it's at. Like that's a good enough reason to go. You don't need to eat anything else.
I'll keep that in mind.
Someone asks, what is your dream role and have you achieved it yet?
No.
Neither.
Emily, you go.
Oh, you want me to answer? Okay. Well, Christine Daae is definitely my dream role. Yeah, I love her dearly.
My dream role is Wendla from Spring Awakening, but I'm really scared that I'm gonna get like past the age where I could be Wendla in Spring Awakening. So I'm like, pandemic, go away, so I can be Wendla in Spring Awakening. So yeah.
The musical or the play?
Either. I mean, I love the musical. The musical is my favorite musical, but I also love the play. So either or.
I thought I had a dream role. But then it turned out that I just always wanted the lead in the show I was auditioning for. Every time I was auditioning for a show, I was like, "Oh, that's my dream role," and you know what I mean? Like that's so typical. And eventually, I kept doing that, and then finally, when I got the roles, I was like, "Oh, I got my dream role this time!" And then I did it again. I was like, "Oh my god, my dream role!" So it basically, I guess I've done some of my dream roles, but I guess we could also say that I have an infinite amount of dream roles. So, if that answers the question.
Same. I feel like mine changes with every like new show that comes on. I'm like, or any show that I'm obsessed with, I'm like, okay, the lead of that show is my dream role. Like right now, it's Eurydice in Hadestown because I've just obsessively been listening to Hadestown. So right now it's that, but it'll be something else pretty soon.
I'll see. Someone else wants to know what kind of episodes we have going on in the works.
Should we get okay, so I mean I can talk about it. So should I say what next week's episode is?
Yeah.
Okay. Next week's episode, we are going to be interviewing a youth playwright from the Playwrights Project. And yes, that is because I know her and she's the sweetest person ever. But and then we're also going to be interviewing Danielle Mages Amato, who works at the Globe, and she goes over scripts and does things like that. And then we have a few episodes, like we're still brainstorming everything so far, but we have a few on, not a few, but we have one on stage management. We've talked about doing one on environmentalism in the theater industry. So we have a bunch of ideas that are just kind of flowing around, and we are, oh yes, and entrepreneurship. I totally forgot about that one, but we're totally going to be working with all these ideas, and we're really excited for the future. So, and we also got a question that's really like existential crisis-y. What project were you on that made you think the most? Oh my gosh.
I can go. I shared the one I wrote that made me think about my family. I think that was one. As for something I've acted in, I think since this says project, I'll stay clear of shows. I will say I did 2 summers at La Jolla Playhouse in their youth conservatory, and like that made me think a lot because that was more my like first inkling of professional training, and that really like solidified that this is what I want to do. So that made me think a lot for like 5 weeks each.
I might have said, another, project at some point, but it's solely because of that question that this project has now earned the title. No, I'm kidding, but this project has made me think a lot, and we've only done this is our our first episode, and already it's I've never done anything like this ever before, and I with my theater company I've directed a show before, and there's something different about that, at least my preference, because you kind of get to you get to imagine and like create, and this one you have to imagine as well, but there's also so many technical aspects of it, um, and I just for sure this project has made me think the most so far, which like I said is crazy because we haven't even done even half of what we're going to do yet, so yeah.
I don't really have like, honestly, the thing that I'm working for the playwrights project thing, I'm doing one of the plays is a show that I'm actually acting out with my dad, and it's a dad and daughter one, and it's about grief and getting through it, and it's especially weird because I'm doing it with my dad, so it's like we have that connection. But and I also had a question that was about rehearsing with actors in person for the show. It's very different because I literally just have to like go behind the camera, and that's me being off stage. Like it's really weird when you're working like in person, because mostly with Zoom shows it's been, profile. I just talk and act as if, I'm talking to the person. But here we're actually standing up and walking around, and it's the closest that I've been to in-person theater than I have been in like a year. So it's interesting. But
Yeah, what is that like to work with your dad? I feel like that's so like close to the line between like professional and personal life. And I'm personally really big on like separating the two. So
yeah.
how's that been for you?
So my dad is like, I love him to death. He's amazing. He's probably watching this right now. Hi, Dad. But he's been an actor for a while, and he just kind of got me into it. And it's like, I don't know. For me, it kind of helps because it's like I can imagine, like it's like we're actually having this conversation about grief and going through it all. So, and there's one more really quick question before we end it off. It's for everyone. Have you heard about the play that happened through VR headsets? I have not.
No, but that's something I've really hoped that like more people who are better at technology than me would explore. And I definitely feel like that connects to what Imahni was saying earlier. There is a space for virtualness in our theater world.
That's hilarious that they did a VR play.
Wait,
That's
so cool.
Wearing the headsets, the actors or the audience?
Yeah.
the audience, probably the actors. I don't know how they would be able to interact with each other wearing a VR headset. Where are you? You know what I mean? They have to.
A lot of head bumping.
I don't know if you guys seen this. That's on YouTube for Disney on Broadway. I've done this both in person, but you can watch it on your phone, where they move you around different parts of some of their Broadway shows. They did it for Aladdin, The Lion King, and I think Frozen as well, where it is virtual reality with your phone, and like you can move it around and like be on stage. Even just that small inkling of VR with theater is really cool. So I would love to see more about it.
Yeah, I've done that with the parade, like the Disney parade that comes by, and then I'm just like looking at the parade. Okay, I think that was it for questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. We had so much fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed our first episode and meeting with all of us and getting to know us better. Tune in next week and for the next few months. We are going to be here, same place, same time, 3:30 to 4, every Wednesday on YouTube or the Old Globe website. Thank you so much. Goodbye.